By Samardzija, inside the 20, inside the 10, he's going in! Notre Dame has scored!
Go!
You will be that driving force to motivate those coaches and those players to beat Southern Cal.
Notre Dame is relevant again.
The 20, the 10, 5-5 rocket touchdown.
Notre Dame is number one.
It's a game of who's going to flinch first. We know that isn't going to be Notre Dame.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Golden Domers Report. It's the spring edition of the Golden Domers Report. It's so good to be back with you guys. The blue and gold game just happened last Saturday. We're doing this the Friday after, just to fit it into our schedules. Let's get rolling. All right, folks, welcome back. And we do want to extend our best congratulations out to my brother, Logan Traylor. He was just hired as the Garrett basketball varsity head basketball coach. Congratulations, Logan. JR, I know you wanted to touch on that a little bit. Go for it.
Yeah, congrats. First time head coach. Big stage. Get ready for the parents. Enforce the 24-hour rule. And don't call me if you need me.
Yeah, JR knows a thing or two about winning. He was a head coach at JFK for a long time. Actually, JR, you won a title there, I believe, a regional title or something like that?
Yeah, we won a district, made a regional.
Yeah.
Won a Coach of the Year award from our local paper here.
So there you go.
So,
look at that. There you go. All right. Well, folks, the spring game happened this past Saturday. We're going to be taking a look at that as well as what we saw. And then we're going to get into some of the rule changes that are coming to college football in 2024. And then just a touch on baseball and softball. So in the 93rd edition of the blue and gold game, the blue defeated gold in a tight 28-21 ball game. Deion Colzie had great catches throughout that ball game. Kenny Minchey had an interception. You know, that was his first live reps in a game setting, I believe. So give him some slack there. He looked good. He's a really good runner. He had a rushing touchdown. Steve Angeli looked really good as well. And then Bryce Young on the defensive end of the ball forced a fumble there for the blue team. And then Kenny Minchey had a dime for 38 yards. And then the very next play, he got a 26-yard touchdown to get his team into the end zone. Jeremiah Love took an Angeli check down for 32 yards. We got to see a little bit of Jeremiah Love in the bowl game this past winter. And then CJ Carr was able to find Gilbert to tie it at 21 with 5 minutes. And then Steve Angeli hit a wide open senior receiver, Chris Mitchell, for a 62-yard game-winning touchdown. And then on the defensive side of things, Kahanu Kia with 12 tackles in that ball game as well. So it was really, these games are really hard to grasp, in terms of talent-wise. You're playing against yourselves. So it was good to see, though, some live action reps on the field in front of, somewhat good atmosphere there at Notre Dame. I believe it was about 37,500 something that was there last Saturday. So overall, I like the blue and gold game. I like to see what we're getting, and I was very impressed on the defensive side of things as well as the offensive side of things, JR.
Were you in attendance?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
That's good. So I know it was the largest crowd ever for the blue and gold game. It just under 40,000, and I think 37.8.
Yeah.
I did see that. What's interesting to me is we're kind of loaded now at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even see Riley Leonard. What's the offense going to look like when he's there? We have Denbrock now, Golden's secured. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of new faces, especially on the perimeter, which was definitely an upgrade.
Right.
I think defensively, we're gonna our identity is gonna be the same. We're a little bit thin now, though, in
Yes.
the defensive backfield. So
Mhm.
it's nice to have Watts back. We'll have Morrison healthy, hopefully. Let's knock on wood. But I think we're going to be okay on that side of the ball.
Mhm.
The young, that's Bryant's son that
I
made the
believe,
play in the Blue Goal game, the
yeah,
freshman.
I believe
So
that. Yep.
that's always encouraging. I think we're going to see a lot of good things. No excuses this year, Landon.
Right.
There's no
Right.
excuses this year. It's playoff or bust. I don't want to hear it. Let's hopefully we're healthy. I wouldn't be shocked though if somebody does enter the a quarterback enters the portal because we're kind of stacked and loaded there.
Right.
Carr looks the part, man.
Yes, he
Carr
did.
looks the part.
Yes, he did. He put up 165 yards. He played on both squads, and he played his tail off. I'll tell you that. You're exactly right, Jared. There is no excuses this season. You're going to Texas A&M. That place is going to be rocking. It's their first game with their new head coach. However, JR, I think they compete for a little quarter. It's Texas A&M. They're in somewhat of a rebuild era. Obviously the place is going to be jumping. There's going to be a lot of juice in that place. That's your first game to open with. I get a little bit of flashbacks to when we played Texas in 2016 and we just laid an egg and lost to them. They ended up going 4-8 as well. But there's no excuse this year. Texas A&M should be a win with just the state of that program. A first-year head coach. Granted, you're playing them on the road. However, Notre Dame should not lose to a first-year head coach in a rebuilding program. Northern Illinois at home, at Purdue. If we lose to Purdue, I might just cancel the season. Miami of Ohio at home. The one game that does scare me, and I think this is the one game that Notre Dame can drop. It's at home, though, so I really don't want to lose this one, but Louisville. Louisville's got a good team coming in. They got a solid group coming in under their head coach. So I think that's one we can lose, we can drop and still make the playoff. However, looking forward after that, Stanford at Georgia Tech, at Navy, Florida State, which that also could be a sneaky game, but I think we should be able to handle Florida State. Virginia, Army, and at USC. You're exactly right, JR. There is no excuse. And if Marcus Freeman wants to go somewhere at Notre Dame, he has to start winning some of these ball games like Texas A&M and Louisville, JR.
Texas, it's nice that Freeman does have a win against Elko under his belt.
Yeah, right.
But home opener for them. It's a long trip. We haven't exactly fared particularly well under Freeman on the road. What are we going to look like? First time on the road, brand new team. There's going to be maybe a little something. Let's not be naive to the fact that Elko knows Riley Leonard quite well. So you can't afford to lose that game. You can't. I disagree. I'm not losing any more at home. That would be unacceptable to me, especially to Louisville may be good, but they're a mid-level Power 5 team. I don't want to hear that. They can't come into Notre Dame and win that game.
Right.
So no excuses. Maybe there's one loss that you can forgive and still make the playoff. But year three has been kind to Notre Dame football coaches. So let's see what it does for Freeman. I'm excited. We're coming off spring ball. Not soon after this, we'll be gearing up and it'll be summer football.
Absolutely. And hell, Lou Holtz won a national title in his third year, if I'm correct. In '88, Brian Kelly took his team to the national title in 2012. That was his third year at Notre Dame. Granted, those
Dan Devine, Ara Parseghian.
Exactly. You go down the list, and granted, I think Marcus Freeman has the most favorable schedule of all those guys combined, with the way things work in their third year. So you're right. There is absolutely no excuse this year. And we'll talk about this in the summertime and late summertime with our season preview. I hate this schedule so much that it's almost, I don't want to pick 12-0 at this season, but it's so weak of a schedule that you almost have to pick 12-0. I'm not saying what we're going to do. I'm saving that for late summer. But I'll put a pin in that for the next episode when we have a full crew. Joe Alt made the news last night, of course. He went 5th. Jim Harbaugh from Michigan, a Michigan man, 1-1 against, or actually, I believe 3-1 or 4-1 in total against Notre Dame in his career. He picks his first draft pick as an NFL head coach at the LA Chargers, picks a Notre Dame man, Joe Alt, to go 5th and protect his quarterback, which I believe is Justin Herbert. I'm not the biggest NFL guy. You see a Green Bay Packers championship, I'm distant from the NFL a little bit. However, congratulations to Joe Alt. I think it just proves time and time again that Notre Dame continues to be offensive line university. The amount of offensive line products that we have produced to the NFL, JR, is astonishing. It's astonishing.
Yeah, awesome to see him celebrate with his family too. Kind of, he wasn't in the green room, just kind of hanging out. I mean, he totally looked like, like a 16-year-old kid just fresh off the little league field running in for dinner. He was so happy. I'm so happy for him. Typical Jim Harbaugh pick. And, I don't know if you heard any of what Harbaugh said. He leaned pretty heavily on what the Notre Dame coaches told him about Joe Alt. So, long line of, offensive linemen. I think it's our highest first round pick since Rick Meyer was taken 2nd by the Seahawks, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody might want to fact check that out there, but that's what I heard. I even got a little coin on Joe Alt going 5th to the Chargers, so I was happy with that. I made a little money myself off of him. So, go Irish. Good to see. And day two's today. We got some more guys. Let's see what happens. I wouldn't mind seeing Estime coming to Cleveland. Boy, that'd make me happy. I don't know if it'll take place, but I expect him to be drafted today.
Yeah, and then you got touchdown Jesus, Sam Hartman there. He could get taken in the later rounds. I don't see him going 2nd round. I think he's a 3rd, 4th round type of guy, JR.
Yeah, he's probably a day 3 guy, but these quarterbacks are flying off the board. He just doesn't have the arm strength for the NFL, but he'll make a good 2nd, 3rd stringer somewhere along the line, and he'll good for the locker room, high intelligence, and maybe he can sell some hair product along the
line. South Bend Samuel, I should say. JR, I do have a question before we move on to the rule changes here of college football. With the way that Steve Angeli played in the bowl game, with the way Steve Angeli played in the spring game, man, I gotta say, I really wish that we didn't pick up Riley Leonard, an injury-prone Riley Leonard in the portal. And I wish we kind of stuck it out with Steve Angeli. Would you agree to that?
Would I agree with that? Boy, that would leave us really, really young. Let's say Riley Leonard didn't come and maybe Angeli got hurt, and now you're left with Minchie and Carr. This is why I'm worried that when spring practice is complete, somebody's going to enter the portal and leave one of these guys. Listen, Angeli has done everything that he has been asked. He's looked fairly competent and able while doing it. I really wanted to see more of him last year. But last year's behind us. Can't really change what took place. Who's to say that, he's not the savior this year? Riley Leonard could get hurt again. It's always nice to have that kind of insurance. You see in the NFL, those teams, they're taking two quarterbacks pretty much play everywhere now. So is he a nice insurance card to have? I think because, everybody assumes that Leonard's going to be the starter. I'd really like to hear what Denbrock would have to say, an honest comparison of the two, because how much work has Leonard really been able to do?
Right. He's been hurt.
What has that work looked like? Angeli's that's what I mean. Everything that Angeli has been asked, he has done. And he's a big guy. He's kind of prototypical. He looks, smart and can deliver the pass. So I agree with. I don't know if I would take it that far, because that might leave us a little thin. But I don't have any problem with Angeli kind of being the guy. I'd sign up for that.
I'm
I think
not,
it's gonna happen.
Right. I'm not rooting against Riley Leonard in the most bit. I want him to be successful here at Notre Dame. I mean, we got him. He needs to be successful. I'm just pointing out the fact that I think we were set at the quarterback level. I'm more of the type of person to develop within our own program, and stuff like that, JR.
Well, you would have to assume, just based on the numbers and with Deuce arriving,
right,
that this is the last year that Freeman's going to go to the portal. And look what Denbrock did with Jaden Daniels. So I would expect those guys would want to stick around there and get, the Notre. Yeah. Listen, being the quarterback at Notre Dame is like playing center field for the Yankees. So if you're got aspirations of winning the Heisman Trophy and going to the NFL, like I said, Rick Meyer, number 2 overall pick, Joe Montana, and let's not forget Montana. He came in a relief role, and look what happened to him.
He did.
So I guess the more that we have, the better the problem it is. So it's a good problem to have, I guess.
I was just about to say that it's a good problem to have for Notre Dame. Kind of like the running back situation last year. We had a whole gang of running backs last year, and it was a big running back room, and it was a good problem to have. Now, moving on here, in college football, there have been 2 major changes coming to the game in 2024. I got to see some of these changes I got to see actually both changes at the spring game in last week. Helmet communications are coming to college football. Coaches will be able to communicate with their players in their helmets. I love this a lot. I love this. It really cuts back on the whole. It's obviously, I think, in my opinion, it is because Michigan, the whole Michigan scandal and stuff like that, that rule is implied. And honestly, I think if it wasn't for Michigan, this would be dragged out for a little bit. Anyway, nonetheless, coaches will be able to communicate with the players via the headset to the helmet. I like that a lot, JR.
Yeah, hopefully it'll allow us to have 11 men on the field instead of 10 men this year.
Right. Hopefully we can count this year. That would be the goal. Now, the one that I hate is the newest rule, the 2-minute timeout in the second and fourth quarter. There's no need for this in college football. I don't like it at all. It's not the NFL. This is not professional football. This is college football. And the more that college football evolves into, the way that college football is going, the portal, NIL, I almost feel like eventually college football is going to be a minor league system to the NFL. The way that athletes are paid, the way that the 2-minute warning now, helmet communications, you're able to basically enter the free agency. I don't call it the transfer portal. I call it free agency if you're not happy with where you're going. It bothers me. And this is just one of the last straws for me in the game is the 2-minute warning in college football. Absolutely does not make sense. It doesn't. It's a stupid rule. It slows down the pace of the game. Look at the last 2 minutes of the Notre Dame Ohio State game, JR. That game was fast paced in the last 2 minutes. Ohio State got the ball. They're driving. Oh, they get a free timeout when they don't have any. They didn't have any timeouts. They get a free timeout because of the 2-minute warning. Slows down the game, slows down the pace. I hate it. I hate it in the NFL too. I do. I really do.
So what you're telling me is there's essentially a 2-minute warning in both halves now, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is probably some sort of compromise to, last year was the first year that the clock continued on a first down.
Yeah.
Except in the final 2 minutes of the game, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
So coaches probably didn't like that. It's probably another way to, manage another timeout in their pocket. They can kind of manage and play the game percentages a little bit better if they know they have that. I'm sure that was a big bargaining point somewhere along, the rules committee, whoever's in charge of that. But yeah, you're right. It is. It is. I just hope the pageantry doesn't go away, because that's really what separates college football from NFL football is the people, the bands, the atmospheres.
Right.
And with the playoffs, it's going to get more corporate. It's going to be less, well, I don't want to say less bowl bowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those other bowl games are going to be left just kind of, unless you're gambling, who's going to go to those games besides the cheerleaders and the mascot?
Right.
So it is what it is. It's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
It's killing basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, college basketball has just been destroyed by the onset of the portal, and they're going to probably make some adjustments, and
they have to.
I mean, it's the wild, wild west out there. But
yeah,
me and you ain't got no control of it. We got to win. Just win.
Yeah, win, baby. Just win. Win, baby, win. That does it for college football. I know, JR, you don't pay attention to much Notre Dame baseball or softball. However, I just want to run through it real quick, give the fans a little update on what's going on.
I'm a Notre Dame baseball fan. Paul, I go back to the Marineri days. Yeah.
All right, good to hear. All right, so the baseball team, they're 20-19. They lost 2-0 to Central Michigan this past Wednesday. Go for it.
My dad also was a walk-on pitcher at Notre Dame.
Really?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. He broke his arm, but he was a walk-on pitcher. Yes.
That is amazing. Wow, I did not know that.
Yep.
That's awesome to hear.
He was fortunate enough to throw batting practice to Carl Yastrzemski on his way to Chicago for a series with one of the Chicago teams.
Yeah.
And he stopped in at Notre Dame, and he happened to go to a practice, and my dad was lucky enough to be able to pitch a little BP to him.
That is amazing. Wow, what a story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, they are 2019. They lost 2-0 to Central Michigan this past Wednesday after a 5-game winning streak came to an end on Wednesday. They're 5-16 in the ACC. They have been swept in 5 ACC series. They have only won 2 ACC series this year. They have allowed 10-plus runs in 14 games this year, and they have been run-ruled twice this season. It has been a struggle in year 2 for Sean Stifler. Year 3 coming up here, they have just a handful of games. They take on Wake Forest this weekend. They take on Michigan State, Pitt, Toledo. and then Louisville to end the year. So obviously no postseason unless somehow they win out, which in baseball that doesn't happen. So most likely no postseason for the Irish in baseball. From a team that 2 years ago was in the College World Series. And, we lose our head coach. We lose a lot of those players as well to that head coach in Florida State. It's a rebuild era for Notre Dame a little bit. I think we all knew that this was going to be the process, and I think we all just need to trust the process a little bit. However, it has been tough this year. I tend to watch a lot of Notre Dame baseball. I have ESPN Plus. I'm able to watch it on the ACC Network Extra. It's been a struggle to watch this pitching staff work this year. And when we do pitch good, we don't hit good. We don't hit the ball well either. So it's just been a whirlwind of a roller coaster of a season. I honestly cannot wait for this season to be over, JR.
That's disappointing. That's disappointing because Notre Dame baseball has a very proud tradition. And
right.
Yeah. But they're working hard at it and play it out. Play it out.
Yeah, gotta find some pitching next year. Gotta find some pitching. The softball team. I would be in trouble if I didn't mention the softball team. My girlfriend is a softball player. I gotta score some points here. The Irish are 25-20. They beat UIC 1-0 on a walk-off base hit on Wednesday. They're 8-13, the ACC. They have played a gauntlet of a schedule, however. A ranked Utah twice, ranked Mississippi State, ranked Baylor, ranked Oregon, ranked Virginia Tech, ranked Florida State, and a ranked Clemson squad. So they've had a tough schedule this year. Regardless, that's no excuse. They are guaranteed an under 500 ACC record. And once again, most likely no postseason for them, just like the baseball squad. And then they will wrap up their season in a 3-game set at home this weekend against Boston College to try to salvage what's left of the season. The best they can finish is 28-20 with a sweep. And with a sweep, they'd be 11-13 in the ACC. So it's been tough for the baseball and softball team. I know the lacrosse team, one of the lacrosse teams is actually dominating. I think they're number 1 in the country and on their way to yet another national title. So it's been great to talk with everybody here today, and we hope you enjoyed the spring edition of the Golden Domers Report. We hope to be back sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, we don't know how Logan is going to be able to continue this. Obviously, with being a head basketball coach now, that's not just a winter job, it's a year-round job for him. So we hope he can make some guest appearances on the show, but I don't think we're going to have Logan full time like we did last year unless something works out to where we are able to, maybe live from Garrett High School in his office or something like that. But I know I'm still here. JR will still be here, and I'm sure Dylan will be here as well. We're not going anywhere. We hope to be giving our season preview here up in late August before the season, mid-August actually, before the season. Stay tuned on our social medias on Twitter. That's it. That's all we have. X, I should say. And thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in August. Hi, everybody. I'm Landon Traylor, host of the Golden Domers Report. And if you like today's episode, be sure to like and subscribe and share this episode to show your appreciation. And as always, go Irish.